I'm Kev Kermusker and welcome to Power Oversteer, and in today's episode we're previewing the 15th round of the 2013 FI Formula 1 World Championship, the Japanese Grand Prix held at the legendary Suzuka circuit. And going into this weekend's round, which is back to back with the Korean Grand Prix, which Sebastian Vettel won and extended his lead to 77 points over Fernando Alonso on 272 points. Alonso has 195 points, Raikkonen has 167 points, Lewis Hamilton has 161 points, and Mark Webber only has 130 points now in 5th. Nico Rosberg has 122 points, Felipe Massa 89, Romain Grosjean 72 after another podium, Jensen Button has 58, and Paul di Resta on 36 still in 10th. Nico Hülkenberg has 31 points now after that brilliant 4th place. Adrian Sutil has 26, Sergio Perez has 23, Daniel Ricciardo 18, John Eckford 13, and Maldonado with 1 point. In the Constructors, Red Bull lead Ferrari by over 100 points with 402 points. Ferrari are just 1 point ahead of Mercedes on 284 points to 283. Lotus with 239. McLaren now looking much safer in 5th with 81 points, 19 ahead of Force India. Sauber have leapfrogged ahead of Toro Rosso with 31 points. Williams has 1 point, with Marussia still ahead of Caterham on no points. And so that's how it looks heading into this weekend's race. And I do apologise, this power oversteer being very late again. And as we look at the Japanese Grand Prix, though, we will of course go into the track facts. So track facts about the Japanese Grand Prix are more about the Suzuka circuit specifically, and the Suzuka International Racing Course. The Suzuka circuit is in the Suzuka City in Mi Prefecture in Japan. Yeah, I can't really say it. And it is a Honda circuit. It was actually designed as a Honda test track in 1962 by Dutchman John Hans Hogenholtz. I hope I said that right. He was a long time director of the circuit at Zandvoort for 25 years, and he was kind of credited with designing that, even though someone else was a major designer of that circuit. But he has designed other circuits such as Zolder in Belgium and Jarama in Spain, of course, where that famously Gilles Villeneuve held off a train of cars in 1981. He's also designed the Ontario Raceway in California in America in 1970, and designed the Nice circuit where the Belgian Grand Prix was held twice in the early 70s. Not a very popular circuit though, so he's designed quite a few circuits around the world, and he designed this beautiful Suzuka International Racing Course. It's been modified 3 times, the course. In 1983, a chicane was put in the last curve to slow the cars down into the pit straight, and the Daytona curve was made into 2 corners instead of 1 long curve. The circuit was also made much safer, with barriers added, runoff areas, and moving straw bales leading to vegetation around the circuit. Then around 20 years later in 2002, 130R was slightly modified, and some of the snake curves were modified to be straighter and faster. And then the next year 130R was modified again to be faster and closer. This was due to the massive accident that Alan McNish had there, and the Toyota driver, he went over a bump and that sent him into a metal fence, and fortunately he was survived without serious injury. But the redesign of the 130R led to the double apex section, and it was much closer to the Casio triangle, the last chicane there, with the chicane becoming a bus stop type for motorcycles. But unfortunately the revisions when MotoGP came the next year, I remember that being the first race on BBC all those years ago now in 2003, the Jaro Kato, a Japanese driver or rider, unfortunately crashed in the new section and was killed in the braking zone for the Casio Triangle, and MotoGP hasn't returned to the Suzuka circuit since then. But there's a Suzuka circuit now. It's 5.807 kilometers long, 3.609 miles long, 17 turns. That record of 131.540 by Kimi Raikkonen in his McLaren MP420 in 2005, and of course on the way to his famous victory from 17th on the grid, I remember, and he passed Fisichella into the first 2 turns, and on the outside as well on that last lap, and yeah, Renault weren't particularly happy about that. And the circuit has three configurations: had Suzuka East, Suzuka West configurations. The east portion consists of the pit straight in the first half of the Dunlop curve in turn 7, but leading back onto the pit straight, and the rest, of course, is made up of the other part of the full circuit, including the crossover bridge. And the Degner curve was named in honour of Ist Degner as well. And the circuit holds many motorsport events. Of course, it holds the Formula 1 event since 1987, apart from 2007, 2008, when it went back to Fuji and the rival Toyota had it. But then it was announced in 2008 that no, Toyota wasn't going to pay for it. It wasn't going to pay for the Fuji to be on the calendar after that. And Fuji, of course, held the Japanese Grand Prix in 76 and 77 when Mario Andretti won in 76 in those wet conditions, where James Hunt famously won the world title in his McLaren. And in the next year, James Hunt won there in his McLaren, but unfortunately it was a massive accident between Monty Peterson and Gilles Villeneuve, which killed a couple of people, and so, you know, the Formula 1 circuits didn't return to Fuji for a long time after that. But it did come here to Suzuka in 1987, where there was again a title on the line between the two Williams pair of Nigel Mansell and Nelson Piquet, who weren't the best of friends, you could say. And then Nigel Mansell in practice went over one of the curves, and yes, these were chunky curves, and he lost the back end, and then he kind of went over another chunky curve which worked as a ramp going into the barrier, and it was a heavy impact, and, you know, hurt Mansell's back. He was out the race, and so Piquet actually won the championship that weekend because of that. And of course, Suzuka's had many famous titles decided at its circuit. It has had, of course, the 1988 Senna won the championship there, his first world title, and then in 89 him and Prost got together at the Casio Triangle, and you could say Prost turned in a bit early and didn't allow him through, or you could say, you know, Senna was ambitious. It's still ambiguous what you would say there, but it meant Prost won the title after Senna was disqualified from the race for not completing the full course that it was finally push started, but he didn't go through the chicane, so he was disqualified. And then you have the next year where Senna just went into Prost at the first turn because of number of factors, not least because Pole was on the wrong side, he thought. And then you have much later after that, of course, you have 1996, where Damon Hill finally won the world title in his Williams, when Jacques Villeneuve, who was 9 points behind going into the final race, wheel came off his car into the first two turns, and so he retired and Hill won. And my walker had a lump in his throat, much like I do at the moment. Then in 98, Häkkinen won the title after Schumacher on pole. His car just didn't start, went about the grid, charged the third, but his car retired and expired. And then the next year had Eddie Irvine trying to win it for Ferrari, but again Häkkinen won and Irvine came third and Schumacher came second. And then in 2000, Schumacher finally won the title back for Ferrari after a fascinating battle with Häkkinen at the front, where they were just pushing like hell in a race of their own at the front, trying to win that title. But Ferrari got the strategy right, and Schumacher pushed at the right moments to get himself ahead of Häkkinen in the end and win that title for Ferrari, the first driver's title since 1979 for them and Jody Scheckter. In recent years, you've always seen Schumacher win in 2003 when Barrichello won the race for his Ferrari colleague, when Kimi Raikkonen had to win the race and Schumacher had to win very low down in it, likely for him after he had an incident with Takuma Sato, lost his front ring, but he battled back through the field, and with Barrichello winning anyway, he would have won the title. And in recent years, we also seen in 2008, I remember when Hamilton and Massa got together at Fuji, and yeah, Hamilton got a penalty, Massa got some points, and, you know, Alonso crashed himself out of the title battle effectively in 2007 as well. And so yeah, the Japanese Grand Prix has been quite important for the title, of course. In the recent past, Sebastian Vettel won his second in 2011 here, when Jens Spahn won the race and a great driver in his McLaren. So yeah, Japanese Grand Prix quite important for the title, and Vettel could win the title here If he gets the maximum 25 points and Alonso finishes 2 points ninth or lower, basically, and he has over that 100-point gap. But yeah, that's enough about the Japanese Grand Prix. I think, and Suzuka signed a new deal for a few more years now to host the Japanese Grand Prix, so that's good to see. So yeah, that's some track facts about the Japanese Grand Prix and the GOAT and Suzuka circuit, going through its history there. But let's make some predictions now. So predictions for the Japanese Grand Prix, and it's hard looking past Red Bull. Sebastian Vettel's very good round here. Mark Webber's very good round here, even though the results don't suggest it. And the Red Bull this year is extremely good. So look for Vettel to win again, with maybe Webber backing him up with her second place. And then you've got maybe Mercedes there with Hamilton and Rosberg. They're fighting for the remaining podium. But never count out Lotus as well, after a very strong showing in Korea with the double podium. And even though they're putting for Grosjean, it looks like now, with Raikkonen, leaving for Ferrari next year, I still reckon Raikkonen will finish ahead of Grosjean in the race, even if Grosjean out-qualifies him again. Then you have Ferrari, and it's hard placing where Ferrari are going to be. I think maybe a top 5 for Alonso and some solid points for Massa once again. And then you got McLaren behind that, and Sauber or maybe Toro Rosso or Force India there, batting for the remaining points. And then you got Williams at nowhere again, and then of course Caterham ahead of Murcia at the back. But for the podium, I think it's a Red Bull 1-2 with Vettel and a Webber, and then I'm going for Hamilton to get third ahead of his teammate, maybe Alonso there, and the Lotuses maybe being up there as well. I'm not sure where I'm going to place him, maybe 6th and 7th, or even 6th and 4th, maybe with like Raikkonen in 4th, getting up there in the race like he normally does. Let me know your predictions in the comments below, and that is your preview of the Japanese Grand Prix with Power Oversteer. I'll be back with a review of the Japanese Grand Prix, of course, and then a preview of the IndyCar Series finale at Fontana next weekend. Looking forward to that. But of course, I'm looking forward to the Japanese Grand Prix as well, and I hope it's a very good race around the legendary Suzuka circuit. But I'll be back with a review. Thanks for watching. So till then, cheerio.